Greece, an Economic Odyssey, proudly brought to you by Investment Solutions with confidence.
The inconclusive election of the 6th of May 2012 left the Greeks divided and unable to form a coalition government. There was considerable support for Alexis Tsipras, the young leader of the left-wing Syriza party, which stoked fears of an imminent Greek exit from the Eurozone. Polls conducted later in May showed support shifting back towards the New Democracy Party. The polls conducted shortly before the June the 17th election showed New Democracy and Syriza neck to neck. But New Democracy garnered enough support for Greece to stay in the Eurozone. Leader Antonis Samaras put together a coalition government with PASOK party leader Evangelos Venizelos and Democratic Left Party leader Fotis Kouvelis. The drama wasn't over yet. Within days of being appointed as Finance Minister, Vasilis Rapanos resigned due to health concerns. Liberal economist Yannis Stounaras was appointed as Finance Minister just in time to attend the Euro Summit at the end of June, while Samaras was recovering from eye surgery. Asked whether he was optimistic about Greece's time frame for repaying its debts, he replied,
Πρέπει να το κουβεντιάσουμε. Δεν ξέρω πόσο αισιόδοξος είμαι. Πρέπει να μιλήσουμε με τους εταίρους μας.
The Greek coalition government agreed to ask lenders for 2 more years to meet fiscal targets, to seek an extension of unemployment benefits and to limit public sector layoffs.
The difficulty is that I don't see still what's going to produce growth in Greece. And so even if they renegotiate the deal, even if they cut the interest payments, still, where's growth going to come from going into 2013? Will a coalition government be able to hold together? Will the hard left, led by Tsipras, be out in the streets by 2013 saying the government has failed Greece? I think there's a very high chance of that. So I still think Greek exit is a possibility, a strong possibility for 2013, possibly 2014, even if they manage to get through the next few months.
Academic opinion supporting the left is that Greece simply cannot meet the requirements of the current bailout plan.
The memorandum leads to bankruptcy. We face an insoluble equation. We have to pay 110 billion euros until the year 2020. We have to balance the budget, and we have to create funds in order to boost development, growth. This is impossible. This is an insoluble equation.
I don't believe that the European Union collapsed because of Greek failure. I really do not believe that something like that will happen. What will happen is that the European Union as a political creation will renegotiate and will find a new equilibrium. And this equilibrium will be towards a sustaining position every day that every new small crisis makes this new equilibrium more sustainable.
So we have to find a solution collectively, the 17 partners of the Eurozone and the whole European Union. We have to find a solution which will be beneficial to both sides.
Let's examine the case of what it would take to bring Greece back from the brink. What can Greece do to capitalise on its strengths? 2 of its key economic sectors are linked through the country's ports, shipping and tourism.
Greek shipping in absolute numbers represents approximately 17 to 18% of world tonnage. That's a formidable number for a small nation. That Greek-owned shipping represents more than 40% of European community-owned ships. In the shipping industry, Greeks are world champions.
We embarked on Alexander III in order to explore Piraeus port.
On a trip to ancient times.
In the background, Salamis Island, the great naval victory of the Greek fleet over the Persian Empire.
And then to the 20th century.
The famous Greek shipping started from this kind of vessels.
And the present day.
COSCO, the Chinese giant in shipping, believes that its presence in the region has already given its economic return.
It was only after considerable wrangling and strong opposition from port unions that the Greek Parliament granted a concession to COSCO Pacific to operate the Piraeus container terminal.
We have for the first time in Greece a concession to a third party, and that is Costco, something that will improve also the whole situation around the services in Piraeus.
Is this the first step in a greater Chinese presence in Greece?
China's been asked to do more in terms of supporting Greece or Spain in the past. I think we first saw these headlines in 2010 on Greece. The Chinese, though, are trying to protect their $3 trillion of reserves, and they've chosen a safety-first option. They've been purchasers of German bonds or US treasuries, increasingly EM debt as well, because that offers better yield. I can imagine that they would go into Spain and pick up assets, equities, perhaps some more foreign direct investment, if these countries like Greece or Spain became more competitive. So a little like Japan did in the UK when it invested a lot in the UK in the 1980s. It may well be that China chooses Southern Europe as a place to put investment if they become more competitive in the 2010s.
China, we're talking about hundreds of billions of euros. I don't believe that China is offering this kind of amount. The only amount that China has offered to Greece is about 5 billion, and it's too far away from what is necessary. And at the same time, I'm pretty clear on that issue. I believe that this country is a European country, has the European principles, and can negotiate in such matters which, of course, have political affiliations and political connections related to that, to them. That is, if you give these kind of amounts as a debt, if you borrow someone with all these amounts, then you do secure your money with some kind of political connections. And I don't believe that Greece has the standards of negotiating with politically with China or some other country of this kind.
While Greece hopes for assistance or lenience of some kind to help it out of its economic doldrums, it can still count on one of the traditional mainstays of the Greek economy. Tourism is responsible for about 20% of its GDP by some accounts.
We did well in 2011, both in arrivals and income. We had 16.5 million foreign arrivals because tourists could really drag Greece out of its recession. We have 16,000 kilometers of coastline, whereas France has less than 1,000.
If we're looking at Athens, we're expecting a good summer. The lifestyle of Athens seems to be their first choice. For the islands, in places like Mykonos and Santorini, most of our clients are US-based, and to a lesser degree in Crete and Navarino.
For us, tourism is one of the biggest part of our solution for economic crisis we have, and we have to work on this. And so visit us if you want to help really Greece.
Στον τομέα της θάλασσας, στον τομέα της ιστιοπλοείας, η χώρα μας θα πηγαίνει καλά και πάντα θα υπάρχουν άνθρωποι που αγαπούν και την πατρίδα μας και την ιστιοπλοεία.
There are about 21 to 22 million passengers cruising every year. 5 million pass as transit through the Greek islands and Piraeus.
Especially in places like Santorini and Mykonos, the passengers they would like to go out and experience the way that we live in Greece.
And the traditional bouzouki jazzing it up.
When Aldi Meola met with Michalis Pauris, he said, "This is a phenomenon."
In the stock markets, we know that after a tough year or a tough period, the better is coming.
We are already extroverts in the sense that we have production plants on 4 continents. what is important from the point of view of this country is to become again competitive and be able to export excess capacity.
In order for the banks to survive the post-PSI period, they will need to recapitalize themselves. And from my understanding, they will have to provide Bank of Greece with a business plan in relation to this recapitalization.
People say that the energy sector is one of the most promising sectors in the rebirth of the Greek economy. That's true. We have a new liberalized energy sector with new ideas, new people, new money.
Currently, the key economic sectors are tourism, energy, food processing and agriculture. In a study entitled Greece 10 Years Ahead, McKinsey identified the rising stars as agriculture, medical tourism, elderly care, generic pharmaceuticals, regional hub development and waste management.
Ο τομέας των ηχθειοκαλλιεργειών αυτή τη στιγμή παίζει ένα πρωταγωνιστικό ρόλο στη Μεσόγειο. Η χώρα μας παράγει 120-130.000 τόνους.
Η Ελλάδα θα έπρεπε να είχε γίνει μπουτίκ γεωργικών προϊόντων. Αυτό μπορεί να δώσει η Ελλάδα στο γεωργικό προϊόν, δεν μπορεί να δοθεί αλλού.
Είναι καλύτερο να εκτονωθεί αυτή η εκρηκτικότητα μέσα από περισυλλογή, από εργασία, από αφοσίωση και από αγάπη στον άνθρωπο.
Σήμερα χρειαζόμαστε ένα νέο φιλελληνισμό, ανθρώπους σκεπτόμενους, ανθρώπους που έχουν σχέση με τον πολιτισμό, που πρέπει να στηρίξουν την Ελλάδα.
Η Ελλάδα ήταν ισχυρή όταν δύο πράγματα πήγαιναν μαζί. Το εμπόριο και ο πολιτισμός.
Σε κάθε περίπτωση πιστεύω ότι τα πράγματα μόνο καλύτερα μπορούν να πάνε για μας. Αυτό οφείλω να πιστεύω ως νέος άνθρωπος.
Ένας Έλληνας έδινε πάντοτε μάχη. Η μοίρα του, η ιστορία του ήταν να δίνει μάχες. Μάχες μέχρι τέλους, μέχρι να βγει η ψυχή από το σώμα του. Αυτό γινόταν πάντοτε, αυτό θα γίνει και τώρα.
But beyond the Greeks' optimism, hard, cold facts will be considered in European capitals, particularly Germany, the region's biggest economy. Martin Wolf, writing in the Financial Times, argues it's time for the real Europeans to stand up. An exit of Greece from the euro may doom the euro, perhaps spelling the end of the European experiment.
Greek exit is still not the thing which worries me the most. It's Spain which worries me most. It has done for the last 2 or 3 years. And we don't yet have the same political problems in Spain. And I think Spain has the same issues of a lack of growth, high unemployment, and no prospect of either of those factors changing. And that's what worries me about Spain in 2013-14, much more than Greece.
As June 2012 ended, European leaders again attempted to settle Greece's economic crisis. They looked at Greece's request to ease the terms of the rescue package, proposals to create a regional banking union, and Spain's request for a bailout of $125 billion for its banks. All this coming even as opposition to the bailouts rises in other European countries. In Germany, 4/5 of the voters want to see the back of Greece, according to recent polls. But a Greek exit would unleash contagion that could push out Portugal, Spain and even Italy. As the Europeans continue squabbling, the impact of the crisis is beginning to be felt in places far removed from the old continent. Africa, whose golden generation is just beginning, has begun to see borrowing costs rise, while investment in many of its nascent markets is beginning to slow.
There's 2 or 3 ways that Africa is being potentially hit. One is syndicated lending. European banks are bringing money back home. That's a negative for Africa. Portfolio investors do choose to fly to safety, and frontier markets aren't perceived to be safe. Having said that, I don't think they're dominating what's going on and what's driving markets in places like Nigeria. Africa's not going to boom more strongly while Europe's having a crisis, but we did see it as a relative safe haven on growth through 08-09, and we think that would still largely apply even if Greece was to leave. If Spain was to leave, it's another Lehman's 2 event, and that's going to hit every market hard.
And so back to Greece and the turbulent waters it is sailing in. After a 10-year voyage fraught with obstacles, Odysseus returns to Ithaca, reunites with his loving Penelope, and Zeus dispatches Athena to restore peace. modern Greeks are looking forward to reaching the end of their economic odyssey, to return to calm and prosperity, whatever it takes.
Greece, an economic odyssey, proudly brought to you by Investment Solutions with confidence.